Hey everybody, welcome to Serverless Day 2022, hosted by Serverless Guru. My name is Ryan Jones. I am the founder of Serverless Guru, and I will be kind of DJing and kicking us off today. We've got a whole bunch of awesome talks coming up throughout the entire day. The first one that we're going to be jumping into almost right away is from Will Peixoto. He's based out of Brazil, a serverless consultant at Serverless Guru as well. Awesome person. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of play his recording. One thing, because Serverless Guru is a global team and we have people in Brazil and India and Bosnia and Tanzania and Cameroon, all over the place, based on time zone, things like that. We'll have live and also recorded throughout the entire thing. And then there'll be people like myself that'll be in the background to answer questions and help give context and keep the entire flow going. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and kick off our first talk of Serverless Day 2022 with Will Peixoto.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Serverless Day. My name is Willian Peixoto. I'm going to start to talk with you guys. What is serverless based on AWS? Okay, so let's go. So I'm a serverless enthusiast. I'm passionate about IT. I'm also a AWS community builder for serverless, of course. I'm a solutions architect, and I like to code. I like to practice CI/CD. I like to automate everything. I'm a maker. I have a master's on solutions architect, and here in Brazil, I've been working before start working for Serverless Guru. I've been working for many companies, and one of these companies it was Brazilian Trade Energy from derivatives. So we have this broker. We can sold and buy energy from there. So it's really good project I've been working on. And currently I'm working at Serverless Guru and helping the companies to move to the cloud with serverless mindset. And by the way, we're going to have another call based on that topic on the next sessions. So keep watching. Okay, let's start our journey. So I want to bring that is working hard for something you don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something you love is called passion. That is a phrase from Simon Sinek. I really recommend you read their books. Okay. Based on that, I want to start to talk about what is serverless. What is serverless from everyone? Maybe if you are in a cloud journey, probably you sometime you already heard about this. So sometime you already know about hear about the serverless, but do you know what is important? Do you know the benefits to use serverless? Do you know how to use serverless? Today we're going to bring down this session, and we're going to talk about all these points. Okay, so what is serverless? By the way, serverless is no servers, right? So there is no in somewhere has a machine and your code is running over there. But the difference is that you don't need to manage that machines. What happens when you have this approach is because your team members can focus on creating products which are the core of your business, so we can deliver more value from the business, and without spend time to configure a lot of infrastructure and a lot of things you should configure when you put your project on live. So what happens here is the cloud provider handle with the work with that IT. So that is good for everyone, because in my point of view, serverless is a great example where it allows to increase the piece, focus only on business, and run much faster than before. And without the challenges of setting up the infrastructure. That means we dedicate ourselves, our team, to deliver project what really matters for the product, and what is very important. So why serverless? So nowadays, every company to be competitive, we need to go to create something. We need to go to the marketing. we need to create things, and we need to talk with our customer. We need to get feedbacks, and then with the feedbacks, we then create new ideas and bring that as idea from another session from ideas. And then, and in my point of view, that is a cycle. So, and the faster you can have this cycle work on, you can have this cycle move on, faster you're going to understand what is important for your business, what is important for your customers, what is important for your user, and you'll be able to deliver it. Sorry, you'll be able to deliver it, what have value to the customers. So that is really important thing from all the companies, in my point of view. And a lot of time the companies are focused on reducing costs on the cloud, reducing costs from IT, and increase the scale, because more customers come to your project, so you need to scale up this, and sometimes you need to scale down, and solving specific problems for maybe you have a bug in the production and you have a bug in your infrastructure. So that is a lot of headache you should lead with. So and that is the normal, but and then when we start to go deep dive with this approach, we understand, we should understand what have value for the customer, what motivates us to be working in every day and deliver incredible project, is how we make that wheel, that cycle runs, and faster than you can have this running one, we can have more product feedback and start over the cycle again and again and again. So if I have an idea and I want to experiment and collect feedback, Andy Jassy had said something about innovation requires two things: the ability to try a lot of experiments and not having to live with the collateral damage of failure experiments. That is a great example of why we can use serverless, and serverless is a great example for that, because it allows us to increase the peace and allows us to increase the agility, the focus, and only business, and run much faster than before without the hassles of setting up the infrastructure. And the good part is using less money, because we're going to spend less time, and we're going to have we can have the market time faster than our concurrency. So with that cycle, and the ability to track things and try a lot, that is really crucial for the product, and also learn from what is not got good, and learn from that, and after that, don't repeat yourself with the same problems. And also we need to be we need to reduce the failure costs. So because we're going to failure sometime, and if you can reduce that value from failure and learn something about it, is really important from every company. And using serverless, you can achieve that path faster than using the traditional approach. So serverless enable agility. So I want to talk with you guys today about stories. I'm going to bring a story today, and let me know what you think about it. So if you like stories, let's go. Once upon a time, have a guy, the years was 19 and something, and the guy's name is Ed. So say hi to Ed. And Ed was a developer person, and he knows a lot of how to coding, improve things, and all this code. He has ability also to deliver project in the production. So, but he is a single person, and they need to take care of about a lot of things. So it's really hard, right? So what Ed decides is Ed has a product, and he thinks it's a good product, and he wants to move to the production. So what is the current approach? So what Ed the to the public. And what I can do is at the moment on the time it was on that time, and of course to start to to understand if the product is good, and to have clients feedback, and have and start over the ideas and back again to the cycle. He needs to put this product on the proof and try and see how the public going to receive that. So the vintage form to create project was like that. So we have a MVC project, and we have our user with a single instance, and then we can go to production, and our clients will be very happy to have our software work on like that. But if something gets wrong, what we can do? Like we have one single instance, we have a virtual machine, adds a single person, and don't have too much knowledge about infrastructure. He needs to deal with everything about infrastructure. He needs to deal with the customers. So what's going to happen? So the customer is going to be sad, and probably we're going to lose a lot of customers from that point, or we're going to have a lot of calls from our clients, and everything going to be bad for us. Okay. So what will be learned then on the time? What you learn on the time is, because you should separate the logic from database and application. And so on that way, if something happens, and it should be easier to maintain our application in that database in separate way, because sometimes I need to update a path. I need to update a patch from my application. I need to backup my database. So to deal with that is easier, and is like a best practice at the moment, was separate everything from in different servers. So you can see we at the moment you have two servers to deal with, and plus application to deliver it. So and also to take care about database. So there's a lot of things to deal with, and what happens on that time? So all right, we already have our application separate in our database as well, but we're going to have availability from our application. So that means we're going to have one more server from our application. In case of failure, our application, we're going to respond from that. So if I have two servers and I have a failover, we're going to have is my user will still using my application on that from that. So I will not have any problems with my users, right? So basically for application, we solve the problem. But if for database, if I have a problem with my database, so my user is going to have a problem as well, because I have a single instance for my database and two instances for my application. So to resolve that, we're going to availability of database. Yeah. So you can see is another instance to take care about, another instance to update, another instance to look for, and another cost comes to us. So we have at the moment 4 servers to look for, and plus application to deliver it. So it's you can see it's a simple application, but you already need 4 servers at least to deliver it as a best practice. So I need another instance for my database for failover. And what happens if one database is go down? Is my application is still responsive because I have another failure, and this failure can be with this failover for database is something really good for us. And talking about failover, we can work on active or active passive. So that depends of your application needs and your business case. So and also in another instance, we respond for everything. And when times got okay, the both application back online, and everything for the users, everything is perfect, and the users don't know what happens. But you can see at the moment we have 4 servers to take care about in production. So that is a lot of things. So we are not on IT anymore, right? And I want to transform this the full application for in AWS components, and what's the flavors we're going to have from if you just transform that application using AWS components. So what happens here is I'm going to have application load balance in the front of it to to take care about traffic and all this stuff, and deal with the network traffic and send requests to my instance. And for virtual machines on AWS, we call that EC2 instance. So we're going to have two EC2 instances to respond for the application, and we're going to have a database we call RDS from AWS. And using RDS is good, but I'm going to show you. In my approach, I always prefer using from Aurora if I can have that, and RDS is just the rules of database, But let's go. In talking about traditional approach, what we have here as a best practice, and we should deploy our application at least in 3 availability zones, and outscaling, and using outscaling to scale up and scale down. We're going to have an image for our application. If the traffic is still up or auto scaling, go to deploy another machine, another image, then your application is going to start growing up, but that takes time, and sometimes it's not the best approach, and your cost also going to be bigger than, because you can see it's three virtual machines to take care about. And I changed it from my database to use Aurora. Why I choose change my database to use Aurora? Because Aurora has a lot of improvement and a lot of things to help us with this infrastructure thing. So using Aurora, you can go also 5 times faster than using traditional MySQL, and 3 times faster than traditional Postgres. So that is really good for everyone. And also automatic increase of storage based on demand. So that is really good to managing infrastructure. So that is a traditional approach to use AWS application. So you can have a different approach as well, but more common way, at least I've been saw at the moment, it's that approach. Okay, and let's go. So but now we just talking about monolithic application, but the word is not worth using monolithic anymore, right? We're right. At the moment we transform this monolithic to containers, and that means all the components we have before in a single application, we're going to have this in a separate way. We can also call that as a microservices, but all the deployments going to be in the containers. And when you go to containers, we should to understand as well how to manage these containers. So we have 2 flavors on AWS to do that. We have EKS, you have ECS. And for these 2 flavors, you have EC2 and Fargate instance. We're going to talk about Fargate last in the call, And Fargate, what is Fargate? Fargate is we pay for the CPU, and we pay for giga per hour and for storage. And EC2 is a traditional approach. We're going to have a virtual machine. You need to take care about everything. You need to pay for hours from that instance, and you're going to choose the size of that instance, and you can go with that. And for operational, Fargate remove the operational overhead of scaling, patching, security, and managing service. That means you can go with containers, and then you choose Fargate. We're going to have a serverless environment for you. So that is, it depends on your approach. It's something really good. And I always prefer this approach make more sense to me, And if you go with EC2, you should deal with everything as a normal application. You should patch them, you should security, you should manage everything and manage service. So that is my point of view. So what about serverless? We are here to talk about serverless, right? So let's go and start to talk about that. You know, if you can, serverless has a lot of approach, and the serverless is not just lambdas. When you talk about serverless, we are talking about not managed servers. So I can have a database as a serverless. I can have application to do lambda to do with the application codes, and you can have ECS to using Fargate to do with that. And for storage, you have S3, and for we can also have servers in different approaches as a in different flavors as well for different approach, not just for database and the application, you know. But what do you want when you choose serverless? You don't need to create infrastructure. I mean, the old infrastructure and all this configuration. You know, you don't need to take care about patches. You don't need about the updates, the servers and all this. And we also want automatic scaling and highly availability from our application. And you pay only for use. That means I can deploy my application will be there, and just when the user hits my application, I will be charged for it. That is a really good for from every company, I think. So if you take a look more deeper on that, I can choose and on kind of more containers approach. I can have the containers, and for computer I can choose ECS, EKS, and lambdas, but I can choose Fargate from EKS and ECS nowadays, and they're really good. So we can have all these infrastructure as a serverless. So that is really important for everyone. I think so. And also for database you have Aurora and you have DynamoDB. So I can tell you, and I can guarantee, lambda serverless is not just lambda, is much more over there. You can learn a lot. And talking about specifically lambda, I think lambda is the most used to you know, serverless service at the moment. Serverless lambda, I can see almost all companies who went to serverless going to with lambda, because, you know, it's really easy to maintain, it's really easy to understand. And but what happens when we choose lambdas is on traditional approach, we have our application, and then we start to create containers from application, right? And when you choose lambda, you get what you have inside your container, and you transform that in you know, in 4, 3, 5, depends on your use case of lambda. So each lambda going to take care about one single endpoint, or you can have more than one, but traditional approach is for one container, you're going to have many lambdas deployed for that. So the beauty of that is you're going to pay for usage model, pricing for the requirement to the code. So you're going to pay just one from start the code and the end. So that's it. You're going to be charged only for that. And the good part as well is because you always have 1 million of the requests per month for each account. So if you have like 10 accounts, one for production, one for lower, and others for lower environments, you're going to have like 1 million for each account from your infrastructure as a free. So that is forever. And you don't pay without using. That is good, because you can deploy your application, you can deploy your lambda functions, and the lambda functions will be there. And just when someone hits your endpoint or some internal process happens, that time you're going to be charged for it. And we also own automatic scalability and availability. That means my function is deployed in more than one availability zone in the AWS. That is really good, right? And I can have integration with different service with Lambda. I can integrate almost everything using some Lambdas. And we can also use step functions. That's a really good services as well to deliver. And talking about integration, if I have, for example, S3, I can have S3 triggers to call Lambda. I can have HTTP endpoints from API gateway to call Lambda. I can have a DynamoDB streams to call Lambda. I can have a SQS trigger to call Lambda. That means I can send a message to SQS. My Lambda will be there, and if any message, when one message comes, my lambda going to read that message from the queue, and that is it. And after that, I can send to database. I can send to make another HTTP call. I can do anything because it's just a matter of coding. How am I going to code that? So that is really good. I want to bring that is also the life cycle from the lambda. That means what happened, like how lambda works. The life cycle for a lambda is, for example, when you choose one file and send this file to S3, and then when S3 receives that file, we're going to have an event. We're talking about lambda, we always have an event, so it's kind of event-driven approach. I really like to work on like that, on this approach. So we're going to have an event, and then based on that event, I'm going to have a lambda to response for that. I can have many lambdas I want for each event. For example, I can have one lambda to response for S3 events. I can have another lambda response for API gateway, another one response for WDB strings, another lambda to SNS and SKS, and all these events come to the lambda, and then I can call or fully managed services as a WDB, SKS, SNS, and anything you want. That is really good. And when you choose serverless, is as I say, is less operational. So that means I can focus more on the business. I can dedicate my team more time to deliver what's matter from the product. So I can dedicate my team to take care about how what the product wants from that. So that is a really good, because on the end, what move that cycle, it is what our users want, what we want to deliver to the users. Doesn't matter how I build that. Doesn't matter. The users don't care about if I'm using serverless. The users don't care about if I'm using containers. The users just want to have a good product and a working product. So that is why a lot of companies come to us, to Serverless Guru, and ask for help to move to the serverless, because using serverless you have less operational constructor. So on that graph, you can see we have serverless for compute, database, storage, messaging, and analytics. So more to the right is more serverless, and to the left is less serverless. So that means to the left, you need more people to manage that. You need more time dedicated for your team to manage that. And to the right, you're going to have less time to manage everything. So you can have more time dedicated to know what's matter for your product. And I think is it. If you have any question, please contact me. I'm very open to talk with anyone. If you want to talk about serverless, come talk with me. Or if you want to talk, anything about market expansion, if you want to talk about anything, flying cars or anything you want, please send a message to me. And this is my contacts from LinkedIn and Twitter and my GitHub. Okay, thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and thank you guys. Keep watching this Serverless Day.
Okay, awesome, sweet. So that was the first talk of today. Hope that y'all enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Will Peixoto, for being here and being our first presentation about what is serverless. As you can tell in the serverless chat, or in the YouTube chat, I bet YouTube is actually, they're probably running serverless stuff, so maybe that's accurate. But well, it's Google, so I guess maybe it's Kubernetes, but regardless. So in the chat, we saw a few things, so I'm just going to highlight those. I thought this was a super good talk and kind of intro into various things going on. Something that is often not talked about as much is that serverless is more than just Lambda, right? And so I thought that was a really good note by Will there, that, you can also run Fargate, you can run, something like Aurora, it's managing the servers in the background, and that's really what we're talking about, is less management of things. I also wanted to highlight some of the benefits of Aurora RDS that Will called out. One of them is less to manage. You get replication in milliseconds. Failover is automatic, and you get up to 15 replicas versus RDS, which is 5 maximum. One other one here is moving away from monoliths. So you get better isolation, meaning when things go wrong, it doesn't take everything down. I'm sure y'all can imagine a time, maybe you're currently in that time still, where you write some, application that has, 10 different services that are all running. Maybe your front end also runs on that same server, hopefully not. And then something goes down and it takes everything down. And I had this experience when I first started Serverless Guru, and I was working at a client who was a car dealership building this sales platform. And what they did is they didn't have isolation between the front end and their back end services. They were running Express. They had like a React front end. And when the front end would go down, it would end up taking down the entire server. And then I came in and tried to help them basically move to AWS and then start breaking things out into a serverless structure with API gateway, S3 hosting with CloudFront, and so on. And they didn't need that SEO factor. So that was, a benefit. And what I mean by that is that when you're running a website off of S3 with static web hosting, you don't get the same SEO benefits as if it was a server that was running it. So that's just something good to note there. However, if you ran like Next.js, let's say off of a lambda function, then you might get some more of the SEO benefits of running a static website. Other things here, I really like the Simon Sinek quote. So let me just kind of throw this up real quick before we jump into this talk. So if you haven't read Start With Why, that's a really good book. Will called out one of the quotes from Simon Sinek very early on in the talk, so definitely check that out if you're interested in like, why did Apple succeed, right? What was so different about Apple versus Dell? Why was Apple able to pivot to different products where Dell's kind of been handcuffed into laptops and so on? And it's based on something that's deeper than the surface level. So, really good call out there. And with that, we're now ready for our next talk. So coming up next, we actually have a serverless panel that has Benoit, Rochus, as well as Philip. And so we did this panel a while back. It was a super good panel. We're going to have Benoit's talk today about the new serverless AppSync plugin that he's been working on and then now it's been released. However, we had a huge critical production launch for a serverless application actually ongoing since probably Sunday night to now. And so Benoit has been tied up. He also had some jaw, stuff done at the dentist, had some teeth pulled. So not able to talk, helping with the client. And then now he's actually visiting family in Belgium. And so we have the next best thing though. We get to hear from a whole bunch of people about, next generation tooling with serverless. And that's coming up right now.